My name is Ariana Mitchum, and I'm a sophomore at Washtenaw International High School. For my MYP project, I want to do something that everyone could relate to, something that we all share in common. So I decided to document culture. Why document culture? Well, I believe culture is what makes us who we are, and it's made of many different parts, such as race, religion, money. I believe we all want the same things in life, to be successful. But how we go about doing that is what makes us different, and that's what makes our culture. So I want to look at why people believe in their way of doing things and how it affects their everyday lives. First, I looked at some theories of culture. These were the basis behind my project, and what I found was extraordinary. I found three main ideas that I believe are really important in our lives. The first one is cultural determinism, and basically it's the idea that whatever culture you grew up knowing, whatever culture you grew up believing in, is the culture you're going to take into your later years. Here is where it stems off into other different theories of culture. First, there's cultural relativism, which is the idea that all cultures are equal. This creates a balance in the world because everyone feels that they are the same and everyone feels that they are important. But there is an opposing idea, cultural ethnocentrism, which is the belief that one's culture is superior to all others. This creates a disturbance in our societies because now different groups of people are fighting over who's right or whose culture is better. So I interviewed a few of my classmates and friends to see what they thought and how their culture that they believe in affects who they are, and it affects how they live and how it guides them in life.
So culture is something that differentiates me from most of the people that I meet, and it is something that I am proud of and I enjoy representing.
To me, culture is what influences my opinions and what makes me me. And without culture, I feel like without having so many different cultures, I don't think we would have
What culture means to me is the belief or the traditions you follow according to your religion, what you and other people part of your culture celebrate together. So just like being together as a family, celebrating the same things, understanding the same beliefs.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think culture is also kind of like different people's way of identifying with other people, and it's kind of everyone has their own personal culture, which is makes up their identity and who they are.
How does your culture affect who you are outside of school and inside of school?
Well, like I said, culture is what you associate with or a lifestyle. And I would have to say that the culture that I associate with specifically would be my religious culture, which is Christian, of course. And as a Protestant Christian, we're talking about lifestyle
Yes.
to others outside of school.
Yes.
As a Christian outside of school, a lot of the things that I do with the church, for the church, to minister to others outside of the church. So I tend to do a lot of things that have to do with my religious culture, which is the church.
Does that ever conflict inside of the school, or?
No, it does not conflict inside of school at all. No. I don't believe in keeping them separate. I mean, of course, they should be. I don't believe in keeping them completely separate. I am still a Christian inside of school. I still treat you with kindness inside of school, but act like what the Christian norms and precepts say inside of school.
Okay, well for me personally, it kind of affects who I usually hang out with and what we talk about. Like, I hang out with a lot of girls who have a similar background, like our parents act the same, we talk about the same, like we talk about like Bollywood movies, fashion, like how our parents act with each other, food, stuff like that. And I guess outside of school, my culture doesn't affect me that much outside of school, besides that other people assume things about me based off clothes I wear, or if my parents are speaking to me in a different language outside of places, outside of like home, you get like weird looks.
Well, for me in school, my culture doesn't really affect what I do in school. I mean, I don't choose who I like. I don't hang with the same people as myself. I mean, there are a few Asians in the school, and I don't really talk to them. I just hang out with whoever really. But I don't really believe my culture has as big as an effect as on myself as it does on other people. And outside of school, I mean, I go to Chinese New Year celebrations a lot, and really that's it. I mean, I'm also part of a Christian culture, so a lot of the holidays I celebrate revolve around that, and that's really about it.
How does your culture affect who you are outside of school and inside of school?
My culture affects everything I do. It affects the way I think, the way I perceive the world. And I find that to be true both inside and outside of school. Inside of school, when I'm dealing with difficult people, I find that my culture comes in handy. The way I have been brought up, it affects the way I perceive them and how I deal with them. And same with outside of school. Also, explaining to people what my worldviews or opinions are is always important. It's always affected by my culture because that's just the way I've been raised.
I am a lot closer to people that share the same culture as me because there are so many things that we can bond over. But when I meet people from different cultures, I'm very interested and I'm very keen to learn about how they would react to life and how different it is from me and what I do at home and how I practice my religion.
I agree that with people that share the same culture, as me, I feel this like automatic connection to, but also I am very curious about other cultures, so I can find the similarities and differences to learn.
Like I said before, making sure I understand the actions I do in my culture is the same for their culture, different from their culture. Because, for example, handshake in my culture might be like a good gesture, but for another person that might be not a good gesture. So you just have to like watch out and make sure both cultures are okay with the common thing.
Well, my culture is mostly religion. It's not really race, so there's not a ton of things that just kind of society, how you act in society. It's kind of it's more of how you view people, and how acceptance and stuff like that.
In the world we live in, we find new cultures butting heads with each other, like to say. And also in the world that we live in, there is not one individual that is like another. And there is not one culture that is like another. Every culture has differences, all people have differences. That's just how we live. So for a culture or a group of people, whatever you would like to call it, to fight against another one verbally or physically is morally wrong. And that's just wrong. Because cultures, just because you are different than someone, that doesn't mean you have to fight. You need to value those differences, maybe possibly learn.
I disagree. I do not think it's. Oh, I don't disagree. I think that it's just a general negative thing. Like, I feel like just because people have different beliefs and opinions, unless it directly affects you, you shouldn't fight with people. I mean, you can have a conversation with people. But if it starts to get really harsh, or someone starts, like, the other person feels like they're not valued, then that's not okay.
Well, like, there will always be extremists in every culture, whether it's religion, tradition, or what to believe, or how you believe. There will always be extremists, and there will always be people that disagree with each other. I mean, the battles between different cultures are kind of inevitable because we are humans and we all have consciences and we all have disagreements with each other, but I don't believe it's right at all. I mean, no, as a human being, you are free to do what you want. I mean, you can't murder people, but like, you can believe what you want, and though some religions, like all religions, have things that say things that sort of go against each other or say things that other people may disagree with, that's what you believe in, and that's what they believe in, and everybody should respect what other people believe, just because it's their own belief. And the conflicts, though they are human, they're unnecessary.
I think when cultures fight because of differences in opinion, it's kind of strange because everyone is bound to have different opinions on things, and if we fought for every situation about those opinions, we can't make any progress in the world. We can't make any real progress. And I think fighting because of a difference in culture, both verbally and physically, we see wars happening based on culture, which is it's ridiculous at this age, considering how much we've been through, how much we know. So yeah, I think that often affects how we interact with people. After hearing multiple perspectives on culture, I was able to determine that there is no real reason of why we celebrate what we believe in is different. And that shows the beauty in being human, that you could be of one culture but still have close connections with a person of another culture. And so before we close out, I just want to say that culture is who you are. Stay true to yourself. Don't let someone steer you in the wrong path because they say that your culture is wrong, because all cultures are amazing. So, I'm Ariana Mitchum, and this has been a cultural documentary.